Hello, Experior champions, and thank you for joining me for today's episode of Xcelerate Unplugged with Shawn Redford. I am so excited for today's episode because it's the first Unplugged session with a guest, and we're going to keep doing this into the future, sharing insights and knowledge and experiences from our very own leaders and champions at Experior Nation. So today, it would only be fitting that it would be our first ever executive partner, our first ever $1 million earner, none other than Frank the Bank DeLeo. You know, Frank comes to us as a former forklift driver, an IT graduate. He's been in the industry since 2000. He is coaching over 1,800 licensed agents and over 85 executive directors in the FML team. He is a Platinum Plus legacy owner. He is a shareholder. He is a founding executive leadership council member. But most of all, he is a consummate professional, a proud father and husband. In his words, he married his dream girl, and he is the father of 3 very powerful young ladies. So I hope you all enjoy this great conversation with our very own Frank DeLeo. And welcome, Experior Nation. We are here with, this is a first. This is a first for Xcelerate with Shawn Redford, or Xcelerate Unplugged with Shawn Redford. I have the pleasure to talk to one of our very own agents, our first executive partner, our first $1 million earner. I get goosebumps saying it, Frank. I get goosebumps. Mr. Frank the Bank DeLeo, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me, brother.
Hey, Mr. Shawn Redford, I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction, the kind words, man. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much.
Well, it's so only the beginning, man. You have done so much for our organization, for your team, and it's so incredible to see you being the first person to achieve this level of success in our organization. And I know it hasn't been easy. I mean, nobody said it would be easy making your way to the top, but here you are at the top of the heap. And really, Frank, I'm sure you're going to agree with me. This is just the beginning. We are still just at the beginning.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's so good. It's so good to think about that, to feel that. My goodness, right? So it is still just the beginning. Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So basically, what I want us to share with Experior Nation is, we'll dive deep into the origin story of Mr. Frank DeLeo, but we want to talk about what it takes to keep that momentum, to keep that enthusiasm, that passion that you bring multiple times a week in your trainings that you do with the team. How do you do that? What is it that drives you? What are the tools? What are the mindset thoughts? That's what I want to get into. So with your permission, let's get started.
Let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll.
I've heard your origin story at convention, and I'm sure our listeners, our viewers here are going to want to know, what inspired you first and foremost to get into this business, and how did you identify the opportunity?
Amazing. Thanks, Shawn. I've always wanted my own origin story. I feel like an X-Men, right? No, just kidding. It's good. But 25 years ago, last month, I met my business partner, my mentor, my quote unquote upline, Mauro Arturi, and we were introduced. And a friend of his said to me, a friend of mine runs a financial services business. He's looking for guys, and I think he'd be good at it. And I was what? How old was I? 22ish at the time, I think, 22 or so. And I was in college, wrapping up college. I was doing IT and computer programming, and I was driving a forklift at Costco, and I took a part-time job at Blinds to Go. That's where I met this friend of Morrow, because I was young. I wanted to make money. I always knew, Shawn, that I wanted to be in business. I just didn't know what, where, when, how. My parents, God bless them, were hardworking, blue-collar immigrants to this great country here in Canada, and they provided everything for us. They provided what we needed, and anything above and beyond that, I had to figure out how to go make it happen, right? So I always knew I wanted to be in business, but I just didn't know how, where, when, none of that stuff. So when this friend of Morrow said to me, he runs a business, he's looking for people, I think you'd be good at it. He wants to talk to you. I was like, sure. And I took the call from Morrow. We booked a time. I went and met him at his office, and basically he said, "Hey, come into the financial services business. You're gonna help people in a big way because there's a big need to just educate and keep things simple and show people the simple basic things to make a huge impact on their future, and you get to generally go on to build and own a business doing this as well." And Shawn, honestly, my answer was yes. And
Where do I sign?
he's like, "I haven't told you anything yet." I was like, "I'm in." I said, because in my mind, I was again 22 years old, and in my mind, I just thought to myself, "Man, if I learn and this guy shows me some good things about business and money, and I didn't know anything about money, Shawn. I knew nothing about investments, the markets. I was trying to learn about stocks in the markets, but I didn't know anything. But in my mind, I just thought, if this is a positive experience and I can pull some things from this, and even if it doesn't work out for me, well, I can take what I learned on to the next thing, right? That was my attitude. What happened, Shawn, this is where I got locked in and was like, this isn't unbelievable. Our first appointment, I wasn't even licensed. It was a training meeting. It was about, let me show you more of what we actually do. And we went to go see my mom and dad. And Shawn, that for me was a huge thing. And I side note, folks, you got to get on field training appointments right away. Like if you're green, if you really want to build the passion and the excitement about what we do, you've got to get on appointments first with your field trainer to really see the impact of what we do. Because Shawn, you'd admit, if we were green and we were introduced to this business and someone handed you a life insurance manual and say, "Okay, go study and let me know when you're ready," that is not in any way, shape, or form representative of the work we actually do. We lose people when we do that, right? We lose people. So, anyways, make a long story short, we went to go see my mom and dad. My mom and dad, and Shawn, this is real. This is true. They've been taken advantage of by a huge, huge Canadian life insurance company that everybody knows, and the agent was a crook. The agent, took advantage of my mom and dad. And make a long story short, my dad thought he was insured, but he wasn't. This guy sold policies on my parents' 4 children, my sister, me, and my 2 brothers. And my dad believed that if something happened to him, there would be 50,000 per kid. My mom would get 200 grand. This was 1990. They would have been okay. But when Morrow and I sat down and Morrow showed my dad, he says, "No, Mr. DeLeo, no, if something happens to Frank, you get 50. If something happens to Maria, you get," and all of a sudden my dad's like, "What? What?" And this person sold these policies in 1990. Shawn, my dad suffered a career-ending injury on the job where he was hospitalized in 1995 and never went back to work ever since. Our family was this close to being on the street. My mom was a stay-at-home mom raising 4 kids. 1995, I was 18 years old. Right. And this agent put his own commissions in front of doing the right job for my parents because my dad in 1990 had already developed some health issues, and he was with one of the biggest captive companies in Canada. So he didn't have options because my dad already had some health issues. So he lied to him. Instead, he sold policies on us. When I saw this, I was floored. I mean, by the way, Shawn, I still have those policies in my office as a reminder as to why I got into this business. They're still in my office. So I remember saying to Morrow, I can't believe my parents let this happen to them. Right? Where's the rest of the planning? What happened here? I can't believe they didn't. Like, I blame my parents, Shawn. And that's when Mama said to me, "It's not your parents' fault. It's not their fault. Too many people are still in the dark with this." I'm like, "I don't believe you." And he said, "Let's go see some more people." And we went to go see my uncles and my cousins and friends, and everybody. Shawn was in the same boat. And I literally said this. I said, "Wow, if I could just be honest and tell people the truth and do what's best for them, I'm going to make gazillions here. This is a no-brainer." And that was it.
You're a rocket scientist, man. You're a rocket scientist.
That's what got me going. And that's it, man.
And that's a common issue that we face in this industry, especially the insurance side of the business. Financial services, the Wall Street, the Bay Street types are accused of ripping clients off, overcharging commissions, transaction fees. How do you help yourself or your team to maintain credibility and trust with whether it's clients or even people that you're trying to bring into this industry as agents to be part of your team? How do you maintain that credibility in an industry that's always facing criticism?
Great question. Great question. Right. And Shawn, the criticisms, they apply at every level of a, a financial company in the business. And what I mean by that is, there's like you said, the boutique, the Bay Street, the high end. Well, they're criticized also because they forget about Main Street. They forget about the middle market, right? The banks are criticized because all they do is take care of the middle market and they just gouge them with fees, like you said. So there's criticism across the board, and some of it is maybe warranted.
It's warranted, yeah.
In our business, in my career, what I learned very quickly is that if you're green, if you're brand new starting off, having a mentor, having somebody that you are working closely with, even in here at Experior, we do it this way, Shawn, where it's like if I just got started on green, you're going to come out on my calls with me in the beginning. That's where a lot of the credibility comes from. I'll have the connection for the relationship, right? We'll go see my cousin, and my cousin knows me and trusts me, but you'll be the financial authority on the field training. This is why we do this the way we do this, because that's where the credibility comes in. I'm going to say to my buddy, I'm going to say, hey, wait till you meet Shawn. Right? Shawn's amazing. I've learned so much from him. He's taught me so much. I'm working with him, and I want you to hear what he has to say. That's where in our system, in my system, in our hierarchy, in our organization, that's where we, really develop the credibility for the brand new person.
Yeah, it's a transfer of trust. Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly right. For agents that are licensed, and maybe they're past that, maybe we're talking to someone who's going to, join us from another firm, it's not that different. The hardest thing, Shawn, and we've had agents that have joined us who have done this, and we've had some who refused, but I like to say, Shawn, hit the reset button, right? It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business, hit the reset button. And if you're coming over to a new firm, learn the lay of the land. Learn the lay. We've had agents who have done that here. When me and Mauro brought our practice over 8.5 years ago, we had to open up to some things Jamie was sharing with us that were very much conflicting with things we had learned. And it took a while, but we had to open ourselves up. We wanted to learn the lay of the land. We wanted to forge a new way forward. So we had to be coachable to a new way of learning, right? So what that means, back to your question, if I'm an agent who's been in the business maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, doesn't matter, and I'm coming to Experior because I see a better opportunity here, it makes a lot of sense for me to work with you closely, even say, Shawn, reteach me.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings a lot of confidence. Maybe we got to go back out and see things. That's where credibility comes from as well. Okay. But the last point for everybody and anybody is the referral market. I believe that there's an invaluable resource called referrals. And if I take care of you, Shawn, as a client, and you refer me to your brother, your sister, your best friend, whoever it is, we have a system that ensures that the trust there is also transferred from happy, satisfied client to the new referee, and we're never going into a stranger's home, right? So when I call your buddy Johnny knows that you're happy with me. Come on over. Shawn said some great things. I want to hear what you got, right? Yeah. So boom, that's where a lot of credibility comes from. So for me, Shawn, it's just doing a great job. And even in building, if I'm talking to you, Shawn, you're working with me, and you're Frank, I got a good friend of mine. He's ambitious. He wants to do something great. The credibility again comes from you making the introduction, saying, come talk to Frank, come talk to the agency owner, come see what we're doing here. You're going to love these guys. It's that networking. That's where a lot of the credibility comes from. And then of course, using great partner companies, right? Having a great product shelf, not I'm going to say this, not selling one plan to every man, woman, and child, right? There's guys, Experior Nation, no, right? Just no. That was for Heather, by the way. Okay. Do the right job for the consumer, do the right job for the client. You do the right job, you give them options, you tell the client the truth, you show them.
Yes.
It's a guarantee that you're gonna have a great relationship
Yeah.
and the credibility will be there. I hope that makes sense, right?
Totally. I mean, we talk about it all the time. You talk about it all the time. One of the key, covenants at Experior Nation is integrity and transparency, right? And I think whether it's recruiting a new agent or speaking to a new client, being integrous and being transparent, asking a lot of questions, allowing them to ask a lot of questions, and then fully disclosing it, knowing and agreeing that you aren't going to get 100% of their business all of the time. Direct them to areas that might be better. It actually adds more credibility to you. I love what you said, bringing mentors in. That helps with your credibility. Listen, yesterday I was driving a forklift. Today I'm offering financial services. I'll grant you, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That's why I brought so-and-so with me, right? They're here to
Beautiful.
train me. I'm being taught how to do this. And eventually, I hope you can trust me enough to introduce me to the people that you care about once I know what I need to know. Right?
100%.
Right.
It's right. It's that simple, Shawn. I don't know why people have to confuse it. I don't know why. It literally is.
We tend to overcomplicate things, don't we?
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
not just men, it's financial services professionals. We all do it. So listen, now it hasn't all been, sunshine and roses in your career, I'm quite sure, right? So what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to face, particularly in the early stages of your business? And what was it that allowed you to overcome those challenges?
Great question. How much time do we have? No, just kidding. Sounds like my therapy session. No, I'm just kidding. But it's real simple. In the early years, Shawn, I just lacked this confidence in myself. Okay. I don't know why. I loved learning in the early years. I thought learning everything I need to learn about the markets and investments and insurance planning and put together great needs analysis for our clients. I thought if I just absorb the knowledge, just by default I'm going to be okay, right? But it took time. It took time for me to realize and understand knowledge is important. The knowledge, you got to keep learning, and that's for you, Sheldon. Okay, but you got to keep learning. You can't stop learning. But here's the truth, Shawn. I realized that you got to get to a point where you got to put the book down and you got to get to work. You got to start talking to people.
There's stuff you don't learn in the book, right? There's a lot you don't learn in the books.
100%. So for me, Shawn, the biggest thing I struggled with was worrying about what people thought about me, right? I was too self-conscious about talking to people, approaching people, being more assertive in promoting what I was doing and promoting, because I was just, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm Italian. I don't know, but I worried too much about what people thought about me. And that paralyzed me big time. What I can think back exactly the time period and everything. What I used to do, Shawn, is I used to try. This is the stupidest thing in the world, but I used to somehow think that I could identify someone who may be an easier prospect for me to talk to. I would literally, if I'm out and about or I'm doing something, went to the mall and I meet someone, or I'm eating at a restaurant or something, I'm at a networking event, I would try to pick and choose and speak to the people that were I perceived as being, more agreeable, more open, higher chance speaking, less damaging. Someone who's not going to say something like "you're an idiot." I don't know how I thought I could do this, but this is what
I was going to say. What was the magic? Was it the type of clothes they wore?
They just be nicer. They didn't look like they were already all put together. I don't know, but I used to do this stupid thing where I thought I could cherry pick who I could talk to, hoping that I would lower the odds of being rejected, lowering the odds of just having someone say no to me. I was so afraid of the rejection. I don't know why. It was unbelievable. So I had to overcome that and worrying about what people thought about me. Okay. Not talking to enough people, put myself out there. I needed to do more of that, and then the last thing was just, you know, the amount of work that it really takes to really build something substantially here. I, I I always want to make sure we never mislead people to make them think how easy this thing is. It could be easy. It really could be. The systems, the process, the steps, those are very simple. Like you said, we overcomplicate those things, right?
Yeah.
But I don't ever want to mislead someone, make them think that you could put in 1 hour a day and you're going to build a business here. You could show up on time and you tied your shoes the right way and you know how to spell your name, and boom, you've got what it takes to be a champion and a superstar. That's just not true. And I was in a culture in the past where they kind of made you believe that. So you started to you were lied to. Start to believe
Mm.
this hype that was completely not true. So you didn't work on improving and getting better and the soft skills that are needed in the business, right? So for me, that was a big wake up call where it was like, I got to work on me. You better smarten up there and get to work, buddy, because that's not true what they're telling you. That this is a big deal, right? And then the last thing is, Sean, people really, really, truly got to find a why that drives them, that they have this bigger passion, this bigger belief, this bigger reason that keeps them going. Now look, Sean, I'll say this last thing. This is something I struggled with for a long time. I thought I had a why, different things. I want to retire my mama.
Hmm.
It didn't push me. It didn't push me. It didn't. I love my mom. Don't get me wrong. I
Sure.
do
Of
everything I can
course.
for her, but it wasn't something that got me going. I struggled with that. Then I was around certain people in a group, Sean, where they were all like, "We're gonna go build orphanages and we're gonna go, save the whales and plant the trees." And I'd be like, "Yay!" Like, I don't. That doesn't. I don't. That's
Yeah.
weird. So I was lost in what drove me. And I tell my team all the time, there's a saying I use for my team where I always say, remember, nice things were made for us too, right? So for somebody, if I'm talking to the old Frank DeLeo who got started in this thing full time at 23 years old, I want to tell you, if you're listening, you're this 23-year-old who you're like me when I had started. If what drives you right now and gets you excited is buying your first condo downtown, then do it. If what gets you fired up right now is maybe having a nice sports car, dressing nice, buying some nice clothes, then do it, right? Do it. I want to be the one who gives people permission to go for what drives you. Don't let anybody else judge you. Don't let anybody else make you feel like whatever your goal, your drive is not worthy to them. Who cares? It's got to be yours, not theirs, right? And that was my problem, Sean, is I always felt like something was wrong with me because I wanted a nice car and I wanted a condo, but nobody gave me permission around me to be like, go make that happen. You can do that,
Hmm.
right? So things changed for me when I met my beautiful wife and then we got married. Well, that was an automatic game changer. Boom, business grew. Bought a house. Boom, business grew. Babies, the twins, the kid, and now it's just like serving them and serving, working. The why now is like it's a piece of cake. It's like we know what we're doing now. But I just want to make sure people understand you're gonna struggle unless you give yourself permission to really find out what it is you want to go for. There's nothing wrong with that because I struggled with that for a long time, 4 or 5 years, brother.
Yeah. And the key point. So yeah, figure out what you want to do, why you want to do it, and go do it.
Go do it.
This isn't the secret. You can't sit in your living room and close your eyes, sing kumbaya, and hope that it's all going to come to you, right? You actually have to pick up the phone. You have to go knock on doors. You have to go see the people. And that is the hard part about this job, that confidence and just earning that thick skin. And I say earning because it takes time. You might think you can take it, but until you get 1, 10, 57, 100 no's, you don't realize that it's just a no. And I've never believed that a no I've never taken it personally. And I guess this was part of my training, my early sales training is it's not personal. It has nothing to do with you. One of two
That's right.
reasons is why they're saying no. You either haven't shown them the value yet, right? So it's on you. You didn't show them the value yet, which means maybe you didn't ask enough questions to find out what it is that is valuable to them, what is important to them. So shame on you. The other one is they're just not ready yet. And that's okay too.
For whatever reason. For whatever reason.
Doesn't matter. But in my mind, those are the only two no's, because I'm not going to tell somebody to do something or buy something that I know that they don't need. So the only reason I would ask them to buy something and get a no is because I didn't find out that they needed it. There wasn't value there for them, or it was premature, or maybe it's too late. It was just the wrong time, right? So don't be afraid of the no's. Go out there and get active. Just talk to the people. 50% of North Americans need insurance coverage. 50%. Like, there's no better market. There's no better market. I can't think of any products that 50% of the consumers in the world need other than insurance products now.
You know, and there's a lot to that statement, Shawn, because there's, you know, I don't say this lightly. We are also recession proof when it comes to a business, when it comes to an opportunity. If I look back at my numbers, I've had the most growth in years where you know, the economies have dropped and things, because the work we do provides so much value, whether things are going up and great for people or whether things aren't. We provide so much value. But I want to add to one more thing you said earlier. Again, for folks that right now, maybe you're struggling because you don't know how to take action. Shawn, I know for us, it's like, yeah, pick the phone, call somebody. We can see stuff like that, right? But I'll share something with you as well, Shawn. Again, I struggled in my first 4 or 5 years, and maybe it was my own mental block that I created for myself. Okay, but here's something I struggled with. I played sports my whole life. Every sport you can think of, I was pretty good at. Okay, I'm a competitor. I mean, that's pretty obvious stuff. But here's the thing, Shawn. In my early years, I didn't know how to compete. Like I would hear folks from the front of the room say, you got to go out there, you got to compete, right? You got to go out there, you got to take action. I'd be like, but I don't know what to do. What do you mean? I want to compete. I just don't know how to compete. What does that mean? What does that mean? I didn't understand how to quantify it. Obviously, today I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness, how easy was it? But this is where, again, Mauro and I, you know, in developing our business, our organization, what we wanted to do moving forward was to simplify so many things. And Shawn, and for everybody here, like you said, go to work, stop worrying about what people think, stop worrying about the rejection. But here's how you go to work. Here's how you compete. We call it, ready? Real simple. Get a name, call a name, and meet a name. That's it, folks. If I was just told, here's how you compete, Frank. How many people do you have to call? How much prospecting have you done? Who have you met? How many referrals did you pick up? You know, whether it's social media, networking, door knocking, whatever it is, right? You know, client seminars, community events. How many names do you have? I got 200 names. Great. Here's how you compete. How many phone calls can you make today? Right? Get a name, call a name, and how many appointments can you book? You want to compete? Start booking 8 to 10 appointments a week. Start going on 5 or 6 or 7. That's it. And I don't know, Shawn, for me, I just had this mental block for so many years. And I know it sounds so obvious, but I didn't know how to quote unquote compete. Folks, that's how you do the work. You got to get a name, call a name, meet a name, right? Do you have prospects to see? Have you worked on, you know, what to say when you call them? And are you ready to meet with them and show them something great, right? Whether it's the client side or whether it's an opportunity to bring on board a new agent. And that's it. It's literally that simple. And rinse and repeat. So you win.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, to build confidence with yourself, once you have seen enough people and made enough calls, right? Now you've got the metrics. You've got the proof that I make 100 calls, I book 30 appointments, I make 10 sales. Oh my God. So for every 100 calls I make 10 sales. Awesome. I just got to get through 100 calls. Let's go.
How many sales do I got to make this year to build my dream income, to create my dream income? Done. Work. It's that simple. That's it. You know, I think you hear people say, yeah, but what about them? You know, one thing I'll say too, Shawn, is this, that I discovered. Like, there's things we discover, and I know this happens to you, where you just things just kind of go, oh my goodness, and you're kind of like, oh, but I know that, I do that, but it finally hits you where it's so clear for you, right? And one of those things, pause. I just got a brain fart. I was like, what the hell? I just lost it. Wait, I was like, it just boom. Okay, I got it back.
Okay.
I got it back. So, and we'll see. Okay. So one of those things, Shawn, is that, and you know this, we do this, but it really hit me not that long ago, a few years ago, was this. And I'll share this with everybody who's listening. Folks, the only way, Shawn, the only real way to grow confidence in anything you do, whether it's the first time or the 100th time. If I'm going to go play basketball for the first time and I've never done it before, I can watch every single YouTube video I want. I could read, I could do this, I could watch it. But folks, until I get on the basketball court and I actually do it, I will never increase my confidence. And this is what I feel is a big, big misunderstanding in our world. Reading, learning, studying, learning about products, this, that, all that really does is it prepares you for the action. Yep. It doesn't give you confidence. You can't attend and know the ins and outs of every single product out there. You can't do that. And if you think you do that and that gives you confidence, it doesn't. All it does is raise your level of being prepared to go take the action, to speak to somebody. It's the actual action of calling someone, sitting down with them, giving a presentation. That's what builds confidence. And the more you do that, the better you're going to get. And eventually the closer you're going to get to being a professional in this business. And that's it. Like that's the secret. That's the formula right there. Yeah. Right now, of course, you don't want to just take action and not be prepared. You got to be prepared. You got to put both together. But that's it. It's that simple, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So now your business has grown quite a bit, especially in the 8.5 years that you've been at Experior Financial Group.
Unbelievable.
Talk about accelerating. How would you say your business has evolved? And I'm reluctant to just say in general. I don't know if I should ask since you've joined Experior or since your business really, I don't know when that turning point was in your business, when it went from having challenges and having to overcome adversity to, not saying it's easy, but you felt you were in the groove. You know what I mean? Like you've got this now and it's onward and upward from this point.
So again, Shawn, and I'm an open book. Like I tell people all the time, you're going to hear stuff from me that maybe if you were with another company, their folks aren't going to tell you from the front of the stage, but you're going to hear it from me. I give away all the secrets. I say the things that the bigger people in other firms don't want you to hear because they're going to expose themselves for. And I'll leave it there. Here's what I'm going to tell you, Shawn. If you want to build a business with people, you're always going to have challenges. It doesn't end. It doesn't stop. That's one of the secrets. I'm never going to tell you, don't worry about it. Eventually you won't have to deal with stuff. Nope. You know what I would say when one of my agency owners, when one of my executive directors, if they come to me and they're like, oh man, Frank, I got a problem. This person, they're upset. And they're like, oh, they're driving me crazy. You know what I turn around and say, congratulations, man. Congratulations. They're like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, wait, you got people challenges. Congratulations. You know what that means? It means you've got a business. It means you're making money. You're making waves. You're doing something. Congratulations. Good for you. Right? Because who says that? Who says that you can build anything substantial and worthwhile without challenges? We got to get our heads out of that, Shawn, that somehow we think they're mutually exclusive. They're not. You want to win? You're gonna win. But just understand it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight. You're probably going to be, taken to your knees more times in this journey than any time in your life. You're going to question the very fabric and soul of who you are and what you're doing. I can't tell you, there's great giants in our company that hopefully are listening, watching this, and they know who they are, that have literally come to me at some point in their career, literally with their heart in their hand, crying because they're struggling, maybe not even financially, but emotionally. They're struggling with just moving forward and people and, why don't they just listen? Why aren't they more like me? And I just hugged them and I'm like, you're on your way. You're on your way, right? Because there's the excitement when you get started here. There's the
Yeah.
excitement. You start to put some work in. Then there's the shock, like they're not all saying yes, right? Then there's the double down. Well, now you're like, now I'm going to get to work and I'm going to move. Now I know what to expect. And then you get hit again. And then there's the crying state where you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this. This is so hard, and then there's the breakthrough, and then
Yeah.
there's the breakthrough after that. And I'm telling you, I've had folks in my business that are making 2, 3, 4, 500 grand a year plus that had these moments, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, the struggles are there, Shawn. The struggles are never going to change. They're not, right? But I think the evolution of my business was the evolution of Frank. Shawn, we met a little bit 8.5 years ago, and
Yeah. When you kicked me out of your office almost there.
the biter of the difference brainwashing was strong. The Kool-Aid was strong. Right? So, but you handled it like a pro, right? But I look at that, the Frank DeLeo. If I had stayed as that person, we wouldn't have built or attracted or inspired and moved, and we wouldn't have done what we've done today. I'm not going to take credit for the hands-on work. I don't write the 2.6 million of premium that my organization puts on the board every month. I don't do that. But I had to grow to be the right type of person that attracts the right people, inspires them, gets the message across, communicates, pours into them. The evolution is me. It really is. Okay. And that's why I don't hold back when I tell folks, you got to grow. You got to grow. Hey, listen, you're great. You're awesome. I love you. Now go get better.
So what do you think has grown the most with you? Is it just your confidence? Because you are probably
No.
one of the most confident people I've ever met.
You know what? I can tell you, for me, one of the things, maybe I was confident. Maybe it was a bit of a show, right? Maybe it was a bit of a facade, but I think for me, Shawn, one of the biggest things, and you might laugh, don't laugh too hard when I say this. I think I've gotten better at controlling my emotions.
No, it's funny because you're a very emotional person for those that don't know you. But no, I would agree. I would agree.
There's a maturity. You could say there's a maturity.
I was going to say it's maturity. You're a father. You've got teenagers. You've built a business. You've dealt with people problems. You've suffered the ups and downs of a business owner. You've matured as a human being.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so I think, having patience in my emotions has helped. Okay, a lot, because so I fly off the handle. I mean, some of the wonderful moments Jamie and I have had, they should have been recorded, because people would have been like, these are the same two people today. It's wild, right? But it comes with growth. It comes with I'll say it, Shawn, it comes with peace of mind, knowing that, oh my goodness, this is happening. This is going. It's happening, right? Also, I worked on this. Quite a bit in terms of just my thinking, catching myself, in my mind. I'm going to say it, Shawn, like positive, strong self-talk, right? Like, dude, you're a stud. Go kill it. Go deliver. You got what it takes. You're going to do it, right? You have what it takes, and it just starts to show, and people, Shawn, are attracted to that, right? Shawn, look, I'm going to say this, guys. And, one of my mentors that I love still is the great Art Williams. And Art used to say, no one's going to follow a dull, disillusioned, dadgum crybaby. That's what he used to say, And it's funny because you nailed something, Shawn, parenthood, fatherhood. Man, you know what, folks, I'm going to say it. And please, Shawn, I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to say it. Building yourself up as a leader and growing and maturing in that progress is the same thing like becoming a great parent. Okay. And I'll give you a great example. I learned a long time ago that a great parent, when there's fear and you're worried about anything, you can't show that fear to your children. You can't show them that you're scared of finances, money, because they're gonna panic. They're gonna panic, and that's worse, right? And you always want to make sure that your kids, for example, just don't get me wrong. I talk to my kids; they know the growth and the struggles, but they don't see hurt, right? They see fight. They see change. They see let's go after it. We're going to take care of things, right? And that's an example, of a part of being a great parent, in my opinion. I don't think kids should see a parent terrified or worried or struggling. They don't. They go to their parents for reassurance when things are not going. Silly example, Shawn. My kid, my littlest one, 2 months ago. When was it? 2 months ago, I think. She had to get rushed to the hospital with some severe stomach pains. And it had been happening for a few days, and Yolanda finally, and thank God for my wife, because I'm all like, hey, unless bone is showing. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm a bit more tougher than that. But Yolanda's like, she called me and she's like, I'm taking Annalise to the hospital. Why? Her stomach, it hasn't stopped. It's really bad. And it's me. I'm like, babe, come on. It's probably a flu. And thank God. And of course, she brings her to the hospital. They rush her in, and they bring her in, and they're like, your kid probably has appendicitis. And I'm like, what? So Yolanda called me. She's like, so probably the flu. I'm like, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm so happy you're her mother. Right. So but here's my point. Here's my point. They did some tests. The tests were kind of not where they needed to be for them to do surgery. They sent her home. They said, we're going to give you antibiotics, it could clear up, blah, blah, blah. The next day, my kid collapses, couldn't take the pain, rush her back to the hospital. Like, we're putting her in for emergency surgery, right? And I was, here's my point, right? The thought of thinking about my kid being put out and going into surgery and this and that, Shawn, it scared the crap out of me, right? But my kid was more scared than I was. And I couldn't show her that. I was like, Annalise, you're going to be perfectly fine, honey. This is a routine operation. You'll see. You're not even going to know it happened. You're going to come out and be like, I'm done. You're going to have lots of ice cream. You're going to be perfect. Okay. Don't even worry about it. Just chill out and relax. I promise you. Right. And she's like, okay, daddy. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm going to go check the parking thing on that. And I go on the hall. I'm like, I'm freaking out in the hall. I couldn't do that. I couldn't show her that, right? That's an example. So I know it's a long-winded example, sorry. But guess what, Shawn? That applies in our business. That applies in growing as a leader, right? Where you've got to be able to pour into people, even if you're not sure yourself. That's part of the growth. That's part of something that I believe I developed and got better at, is that for a long period of time, it was about, I had to get where I needed to get to. But then I realized that, holy smokes, if I can help folks get to where they need to get to, I'll get to where I got to get to. So all of a sudden, Shawn, the growth of me personally, part of that was it became a lot easier for me to pour into my people. When I saw something like and I, of course, don't bullshit it. Excuse me. Don't lie about it. But man, there's great people in our business where it's like, my goodness, do you realize what you have to do something big and special here? It just became easier to see that in others. And I think that's part of growing. That's part of, just developing this belief system in growing, right? So for me, that's part of the evolution, is being able to serve others, being able to pour into others, being able to not show hurt, show confidence for them when they don't see it. How many of our agents are like, I can't make my mortgage payment next week. My kids haven't eaten in 4 weeks. And you still got to say, let's get to work. I'll help you get there. You have what it takes. You just got to overcome this. You just got to get to that point, right? And that's what I'm talking about. It's being able to pour that belief into others. Shawn, Jamie didn't do that to me. I wouldn't be here today. And there's Jamie has publicly talked about how close they got in the beginning, the first 2 years, how close they got, whole thing being shut down, right? Jamie talked about, I had this thing where we wanted to build this great thing. I just had no idea how we were going to do it. He's like, our plan was, we'll figure it out day by day. Now imagine, here's my point about not showing hurt, right? Here's my point, which is part of growing and developing. It's part of developing a strong attitude, a strong mindset, right? Here's what I mean. Imagine when Jamie met with me and Mauro and Laval 8.5 years ago, nine years ago this month. 9 years ago this month is when we met him.
Mhm.
Imagine Jamie's like, so guys, I've got a goal and a vision to build the greatest thing ever. And we're like, all right, how are we going to do it? No idea, no plan. We're just going to go day by day and figure it out as we go. If he had said that, those would be like, yeah, okay, thanks. Figure something out. Let us know that we're out of here, right? Instead, he didn't show the doubt. He didn't show the hurt. He didn't show that side where I'm sure him and Leanne had those moments where they're like, what are we going to do, right? And
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
and Shawn, that's part of the growth. That's part of just growing up and having that faith, doing the work, and just not showing hurt, right? But the last thing I'll say, and I'll go back to it, is this all connects to just your mental game. It's all part of the way you think. It's all part of your belief system about you, the people around you, your company, your opportunity, the world. Shawn, the world. Hey, part of the growth and working on your mental toughness, Shawn, was about eliminating things in my life that were not serving me anymore. I'll give you a great example. Jamie and I had this conversation just 2-3 weeks ago. Beginning of COVID on Facebook. Oh, you almost could put a line between the two factions here at Experior that were either side, and we were public about it. We were this, and it was battling, and all of a sudden, after like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months, and it was my wife's sister. She's like, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. This is changing who you are. Well, why is this important? This is not important. It was like, oh my goodness. And thank God we all pulled back. I stopped, the leaders, we all stopped. And Jamie, Leanne, we all stopped because we all realized, what are we doing? This is not important, for our mission and what we want to do. And that's all part of growing up. That's all part of being clear on the work and your mental toughness, and just focusing on not bitching, not complaining, focus on how do we take action and move forward. All part of the growth. That's the evolution that I've gone through. It ain't perfect. I ain't perfect, Shawn. You know that. I ain't perfect. But if anybody wants help with that, here's where you can start. You ready? Pass your positives down. Think of a family. Think of the business. Pass your positives down and pass your negatives up. Go to mom and dad. Like if you're an adult, go to your mom and dad when you're dealing with your kids, or you need advice, or you're struggling, you're frustrated. In the business, go to your mentors, your uplines when you need help and you're struggling. But to your team, to the people that are counting on you, that you're leading, you can't show hurt. You got to pass those down. And that's it. Yeah. That's part of the growth, man.
So you've overcome a lot of challenges. Mindset has certainly helped. Confidence in yourself and your abilities has helped over time. One of the things you touched on briefly there was Jamie having a plan, and I'm curious to know, how do you balance your short-term goals with your longer-term vision of where you want to go?
Great questions. Great. I love it. So, I've been a student of Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy's been one of my mentors in business. Love his books. He used to be the publisher of Success Magazine. I've seen him live. I've flown out Florida twice to hear him live. I love listening to him, right? And he talks a lot about goal setting. And I actually do, Shawn, an annual goal setting workshop, with our organization. And we use a lot of the things I learned. Everybody knows about SMART goals and things like this, right? So we do a lot of that, okay? But I'll tell you, Shawn, maybe it's because my ADHD is like it's real, okay? And maybe it's just out of this world, but I just don't do it personally. This is just frank. I'm not telling other people to do this, but I can't really hold on to long-term goals. What I've learned, Shawn, is that if you stack your weekly, your monthly, quarterly goals and annual goals, I honestly don't plan out more than a year at a time. Okay. But if you stack together the right quarterly, monthly, quarterly, annual goals, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then you're going to get to where that's going to take you in the 5th year. Right.
Yeah.
I have the only long-term goal that I have, which I set a few years ago, and you're going to laugh. Here's the extent of my business plan and my goal setting. Here it is.
Okay. I can't read it. 10,000 licensed agents by age of 50. All right.
That's it. That's it. There. If people want to know this elaborate plan that I have and this, that, here it is.
That's it. You've made a contract with yourself.
And that's it. And
That's the long-term vision. So I mean, the beauty of that is that you, at least every decision you make now, today in your business, you're going to ask yourself the question, is this change in my business going to get me closer to that 10,000 or further away? Is it going to help me get there? Is it going to relieve my stress? How is it going to help me on my path? Because at least you do have a path. It is a number. And I agree with you. You can't have 10-year plans anymore. The world changes so fast that who knows what's going to happen beyond 2 years.
That's right. That's right. Things change. And then the other problem that happens too, Shawn, is that people put together these goals. Even it doesn't even have to be a 10-year goal. It could be a quarterly goal. It could be a 1-year goal. It could be a 2-year goal. And here's the other problem. You're right. The world changes. But here's the other thing. Too many people then don't start to see this goal take shape. They don't see themselves making progress to it or whatever. And then they end up just beating themselves up over it and they end up throwing in the towel, right? People don't really understand what goal setting is really about. It's about a target, obviously, and it's about you doing what you're supposed to do and you becoming who you're supposed to become to get there. But it's not about getting there, right? It's not. I tell people all the time, I've probably missed 90+% of the goals I've set for myself.
Yeah.
But look where I'm at. Look where we're at. Right. I'll give you a great example, Shawn. I'll give you a great example. It is still one of my goals today. It is one of my goals. But I've had this goal for a couple years. It's something I reset for myself every year. But one of my goals is to promote 25 direct executive directors, 25 direct agency owners, because 25 direct executive directors, agency owners, running a $25,000 a month premium agency, which by our standards is very low. That's gonna pay $1 million of override income through first. Okay. Here's the power of goal setting. That has been something I've had for 2, 3, 4 years as a goal that I set every year. We got to get there. We got to get there. We got to get there. We are now, as of yesterday, with Sarah LaGrossa's new executive director promotion, we are now at 17 direct executive directors. I'm not at 25. But guess what, Shawn? As of 2 weeks ago, I don't remember the date, 2 weeks ago, right? We crossed over that 7-figure income mark in overrides. You see, guys, that's the power of goal setting. We don't know what it's going to look like. I didn't get there with a goal of 25 direct executive directors to the $1 million income mark. I did it with 17, but we did it still anyway. Oh, interesting. See, people forget that's the power of goal setting is what do you become? Who do you attract? What do you build on the way to get there? Not so much of having to get there in this rigid fashion. People are missing out on that. They're not getting that, right? So that's an example of how to do goal setting properly. I'll give you one more. And I shared this with the team. And Shawn, were you there in February at the Vancouver event we did earlier in the year? Were you at the event? I can't remember.
No.
So Jamie was there. We were there. We did a Vancouver event, which we got one next week. Okay.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talk about you're going to be the first $1 million earner. Frank, you're going to be the first $1 million earner. And Jamie's bringing it up, and some of them, the team that was there, the Cindays were there. A lot of people were talking about it, and I was getting bugged about it. And then finally, Jamie was bugging me about when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? And finally, I just out of nowhere, Shawn, there was no plan. It wasn't a goal that I had. I just went up and during my time to speak, I just went out and said, hey, listen, everybody, I'm going to make a public declaration. I'm going to set a public goal right now that I will become $1 million earner by the convention in July. Okay.
Yep.
And came out of nowhere. And Jamie was like, wait, I got to record it. I didn't hear it. Wait, say it again. And he's getting his phone ready to hear it again, right? But here's my point. I did go to work. I did put together a plan and said, okay, what do I have to do? What income goals do I have to hit every month to make it happen? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Guess what, Sean? Guess what, Sean? I didn't hit it in July. Didn't hit it. But I hit it in October.
Yep.
If I hadn't set that public goal that came out of nowhere, actually it didn't really come out of nowhere. It came out because I hang around with the right people who help you grow, push you, right? That's another big factor in success, when you're around the right people. And all of a sudden that happened. And by the way, I shared this with a lot of my executive directors, and I got to share this publicly here with everybody. You sometimes don't know what is going to happen to you in a positive way as you do fight to hit a goal, as you just put your butt on the line like I did in February, to all of a sudden be like, after I said it, I'm like, what did you do? Right? Like, we want to say this, but I'm a competitor. I want to compete. So I went to work and I continuously publicly declared it over and over again. So Shawn, not only do we hit in October, that's not even the point. The point is the way the income began to compound, right? The way the universe works, the way the energy around you works, we're on track to double my income from the end of 2023, which was 699,000, to doubling it to the end of 2024. Right? That's what we're on track for. That's what we're pushing towards. So when it comes to goal setting, folks need to, of course, have a goal, have something you want to shoot for. Focus on who you become along the way. Focus on the growth, what happens to you along the way, the things you put in place. And maybe it doesn't happen in July at the convention, but maybe that didn't happen because bigger things were coming, which was a double by the end of the year, because that's what we're on track for. And I was like, oh, I'd rather take that than the $1 million convention. Yeah, understand?
I've always said that, achieving the goal isn't the award or the reward. It's the journey. It's the person, to your point, it's the person that you become, the lessons that you learn on the way to the goal. That's the reward for setting the goal. And I would challenge you. You started to see incredible results when you finally sat down and put pen to paper. How am I going to get to that $1 million target in the next few months? All of a sudden, your business took off. My challenge to you would be not resting on your laurels. Not that I know you well enough to know that you would never rest on your laurels. But if you go on the assumption that if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to double my business every year, I would challenge you to say, no. You have the power to do more than double your business in 2025, not just because of the momentum, but because of the lessons you've learned, the people that you've surrounded yourself with, and hopefully, more specifically, more short term, the lesson you learned in putting more concrete plans in place. I'm a big believer in planning, looking at the metrics, because really, when you compartmentalize your business, that's when you can really uncover where your strengths and weaknesses are, the areas in your business that you need to focus on in order to help you achieve your goals. And I have no doubt. And in fact, 25 directs, you're at 17. I think it's time to readjust that goal. I think it's not 25 directs anymore.
Well, I gotta say thanks, Juan Jaime, for stretching me. And he's talking about 100 directs by the end of next year. I'm like, all right, fine. But
right. You got to surround yourself with the Juan Jaimes, the people. Right.
That's right.
You've achieved the top. You were the first one to executive partner. You're the first one to $1 million. Juan Jaime comes in, $2 million earner at another company, and you're like, okay, whoa. What? It wasn't, who is this guy? I don't need to spend any time with this guy. No, you embraced him. You were like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What have you learned in the last 12 years that has brought you here? What can I do with you? You've really embraced working with Juan. And that's admirable. Yeah. There's no ego. Well, we all have egos. Don't get me wrong. We all have egos.
I talked about ego today in my Wednesday morning mental toughness class. I talked about ego today, but Shawn, let me talk about that real quick. That goes back to, and I'll say this humbly, right? It goes back to the growth and taking a step back and slowing down a little bit with the emotions and the reactions. When we go too fast in our thinking, when we go too fast in our emotions, this is where you get tripped up. This is where you don't see the speed bump coming. You don't see the obstacle coming. You get tripped up, right? So that's part of the growth that I've gone through, where it's like, whoa, let's take a step back, okay, and let's just evaluate. And here's the thing that I've learned, Shawn. When you're happy and proud of yourself and what you've done, you don't easily get threatened by others. So because I was thankful, and publicly sometimes Jamie likes to razz us and get us all going. And hey, Frank, Juan said he's gonna kick your butt. And, hey, Juan, Frank said he's gonna kick your butt. And I love playing into that too, right? And and we joke about that stuff. But I'm sitting here going, hey, why am I here? I'm here to change people's lives. Our team name is FML, Free More Lives. That's what we're here to do. I'm here to do that for my family. I'm here to change my family's tree forever. So if a gentleman comes into our world who's built a $2 million a year income in business, and there's something we can learn from to make this thing better for our company, our team, my family. I can't wait to pick his brain. I can't wait to spend some time with him, to hear more about his story, his journey, what he's doing, because I want to pick and choose, and see areas that we can do some things and learn some things and get better. Right. Yeah. So for me, Shawn, I wasn't like that not that long ago, not gonna lie. Sometimes people would be introduced or people come in and we'd be like, oh, what's going on here? Who's this joker? And don't come here and tell me you think you're gonna tell me what to do, right? And wink, Shawn, right? But it's like that's just dumb. That says more about you and your insecurities, than anything else, right?
Yeah.
And so that's part of growth. It's part of growth. And I'm excited because there's leaders, or as Jamie says, iron sharpens iron, and that's what we got to remember, right? So I'm excited about that part for sure, man. There's a lot happening.
We've only got a bit more time left. I want to wrap up with 2 quick questions. First one should be relatively easy, I think. We talked about surrounding yourself with the right people. Who've been your right people?
Real easy. Top 3. Can my wife hear? No, I'm just kidding. But in life, my wife being number 1. I didn't just marry for good looks. Thank God she's gorgeous though, but thank God she didn't at all. But she's gorgeous, but in my life, she's been the one who's kicked my ass. And sometimes, to the point where we do battle and fight. But when you've learned over the years, Shawn, to just develop this ability to reflect, and reflection is so key. It's so powerful. And I've learned that, where it's always like, okay, let's stop. How do I get better? What did she say? How can I? But my wife has been just a huge part of this thing for me. I wouldn't be where I am today. Somebody asked me the other day, does your wife work in the business with you? Because I see her name on all the plaques. And I'm like, she doesn't work in the business with me, but those are as much hers. She's responsible for those as much as I am, because she gave me the permission to go out there and do the work while she took care of the family. And I thank God, because I wouldn't be able to do that. Number 2 is Mauro. Like, I say this a million times, and my phrase is, my wish for everyone is you get to have a Mauro Arturi in your life too, right? Because he's just been he wasn't the tough, go-getting, motivational, ambitious coach that maybe I am a bit more of, or maybe a lot more of, but he's the guy who's there when you need someone. Man, that's just been his strength. I don't know how he does it. We'll be talking one day and he'll be like, yeah, so-and-so, they went here and the kid did this and the wife is there. And I'm like, how do you know this? How do you know this stuff? And he's got this ability to be there for people when they need him. I said it this morning, Shawn, in my mental toughness training. There's those bracelets, WWJD, right? Like, what would Jesus do? Those bracelets. Yeah. Well, I'm going to get like WWMD. What would Mauro do? Because I can't tell you how many times to this day I still say that to myself. But what would Mauro do? What would Mauro do? Right? And then from there, Jamie has been this son of a gun. I'm going to call him the son of a gun because he knows how to just and then it's like, it's right. And Jamie's got this ability that when you allow yourself to get close to him, he's got this ability to get you to want to do more without him having to say or do much. You just want to do more and, make him proud in a way, right? So, but Jamie's poured so much belief in me when I didn't have it in me. When I was questioning and worried in the beginning, Shawn, oh my goodness, no back office, no ICF, no compliance, no contracting, no nothing. But he stayed true. That's going back to, you can't show hurt, can't show doubt. True to his vision, and he kept pouring belief in. And thank God, for him to have that. Those would be the top three that are close to me in my life. And then my executive directors, I love hanging out with people, Shawn, that think the right way and want the right. And we're on a journey, we're on a mission. Let's go fight this thing together. Shawn, not blowing smoke, brother. I've learned a lot from you, man. From the first day you started here and talking to you, and maybe we didn't get things off of the right foot, but learning so much, hearing you and taking a step back and going, okay, I get where this is coming from. Sheldon's been an incredible, again, friend in my life. Sheldon's taught me empathy. Sheldon's reminded me so many times to just think about where someone else is coming from, right? And so there's been, these are the people that are the ones that have made the biggest impact long term. You, Sheldon, absolutely. And then obviously there's different authors and business people, and It's funny. That's one thing Darren Hardy talks about. He says, you can have a mentor that doesn't have to be somebody that's around you or that you talk to or that you're around. Mentor can be someone through their books, their coaching, their videos. Darren Hardy's a big one for me. Brendon Bouchard is another big one for me. So, I mean, those are probably the names that jump out the most.
Yeah. Well, Patrick Bet-David would say, choose your enemy wisely, right? That could be your motivator, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, right? So, that's definitely where we're at, man. Unbelievable.
So my last question to you, if you think we have enough time,
sure.
Do you think? Okay, so I'll start this again for my producer. So my last question for you before we wrap up is, there's a lot of misconceptions about recruiting models, and I will be the first one to admit, Jamie's called me out on it on stage, prior, the year before I joined Experior, I wouldn't have recommended this company to most agents because I dealt typically in the independent advisory world, and again, misconceptions out there. I am the first one to say and to apologize for not being more open-minded, right? Now I would flip the switch. Now I would say 95% of agents on both sides of the border, now that I have experience in the US, I could say this with full authenticity. 95% of agents should be in an agency builder model, a networking model. Who do you think is the best agent suited for the agency builder model?
Let me
tell me who the person is. I'm saying statistically, but you tell me, who is this person? What do they look like?
Well, so I mean, first of all, you got to be entrepreneurial, right? You gotta want to do more. You got to want to do more. They got to be somebody that loves people, that really truly loves people. I think most people can learn how to love people. There are some people that they just do not want to be around human beings. The same for you, okay? Yeah. Right? Stay in your mama's basement eating Cheetos. You're good there, okay? But you've got to love people. You've got to be entrepreneurial. You've got to have this drive. You got to want to do more. You got to want to max out your life, but have an impact. You want to make an impact on people's lives, right? And I know some people start off, Shawn, where they're maybe like, I would love to just, get a little bit of a financial education, or maybe I'd love to learn or make an extra couple grand a month part-time and start that way. And yes, there's a home for everybody like that wants to get started here, make some extra income, have a side gig, do things like that. Absolutely. We want you here, right? But even if you join us from that perspective, Shawn, I'm still going to talk to them like they're going to be the next $1 million earner in our company. Because that's the opportunity with our firm, when you have the right type of builders model, the right type of recruiting model, right? Let me comment on the misconception, like what you said, right? There some of the misconceptions are justified, right? And if you're with one of these firms and all they talk about is recruit, 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 recruit. That's all they talk about. And to make recruiting easy, or to make the work that any recruit can do too easy, they also would rather have a one size fits all approach. Think of some of them,
Mhm.
Shawn, whether it's
Yep.
term insurance,
Yep.
whether it's UL, whether it's IRP, right? When these types of models begin to just make the client process overly simplistic, that it is
Transactional.
transact
Transactional.
beyond one type of, just everybody sell term to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a $100 a month UL plan, right? Everybody gets an IRP, right? Everybody gets an IUL. When it's one plan for everybody, the only reason that's done, Shawn, is to maximize recruiting, because now you can recruit any jackass, because anybody can learn how to sell the same thing to everybody.
Yeah.
That ain't us. That's why, Shawn, you're right about 95% of folks in our industry should be with us. Here's why. Because we built a model where we do not ever compromise what's right for the client, doing the right job for the client, making sure they get choices, making sure they're taken care of. We won't compromise that just for the sake of recruiting. We won't, and we should, and I won't. We shouldn't, and I won't. I never will. And even if we bring folks in from other firms, they join and they bring that attitude here, it's going to stop. They're going to unfortunately be shocked and surprised when they hear a different message here, because that is not what we're about. I always say, Shawn, this is what I always say when I speak to agents that are coming from one of these other recruiting companies that the criticism is justified. I always ask them, I say, let me ask you something. How would you feel if your mama was one of these people that approached this company as a client with legitimate interest in getting their insurance protection, and they were sold what they were sold because it's what everybody got, not because of what was best for them? How would you feel? Would you be okay with that? See, I wouldn't. And that's why, Shawn, what sets us apart, and why the criticism is not justified with Experior, is because we are proving, and it's taken a lot of hard work, and it's taken building a great team from the corporate side with you, Sheldon, Heather, Nathania, so many others, Kathleen, right? Stephanie, our new, like, I'm missing people, but my God, the team we put together, corporate, that Leanne's doing with just building the right people around us. We are proving with a lot of hard work that you can build and recruit without sacrificing doing the right job for the consumer. And we get criticized because of similarities to other firms, just because there's some similarities. We get criticized, we get thrown under the bus because of that. But if people actually took the time to look behind the curtain, they're going to look and say, this isn't what everybody else is. It's completely different. Right. And Shawn, here's the other problem. The other problem is the rest of our industry, the rest of the traditional MGA IMO world. The problem, I'll say this, is, I don't know why some of these people have this arrogance, almost this chip on their shoulder about thinking, they're with a recruiting company, like something's wrong with us or something. Man, I will put any of our full-time agents up against any other agent in our business, right? When it comes toe to toe, I will do that because I know the training we do. I know the work that we do, right? But here's the thing. Do we have some bad apples in the bunch? Of course we do. Do we have some folks that aren't maybe taking the training seriously enough? Of course we do. Here's the problem. I wish, and Shawn, I hope that our industry, our regulators, the light that they tried to shine on us to try to expose what could be wrong here, which they found nothing. Hopefully they begin to shine that light on the rest of the traditional industry, so folks can start to see that there's this perceived issue with the recruiting models that compromise clients is not, with our firm, anywhere near how bad it is in the traditional business too.
It's a problem with commission sales in general. It's a problem with lack of supervision. I argue we have more supervisors here than any of our competitors do in the traditional IMO MGA world, because all of our directors have a stake in the success of the people that they've recruited. That isn't the case with business development people at the MGAs. they really don't have a vested interest in everybody's success. They have a vested interest in the bottom line numbers, which usually come from the top 5 or 10% of the agents in those MGAs. So those are the only people that get any support. They're the only ones that get the top compensation. That is not the case here. Every individual, and I love that, and I'm giving credit to Stephanie. She doesn't accept the credit, but I'm going to continue to give Stephanie the credit for this. We as an organization are really priding ourselves and putting ourselves out there on the line, saying we are going to be the number one organization to set agents up for success from the very beginning because of the tools, the training, the resources, the support, the compliance regime. Second to none.
The path. Shawn, the path
Yes.
of growth. Our model is built the way it is.
The opportunity is to generate revenue, right? Like all of these things combined. I again, guilty as charged. I was not one of those open-minded individuals until Jamie and I sat down and had a really in-depth conversation about the industry, about what's wrong with the industry. And that was what really changed it for me. Jamie opening up and being frank with me with what he believed to be wrong with the industry. And then I opened up to him and said what I think to be wrong with the industry. And we both went, it can be better. It can be better, but I think it can only be better if shareholders get out of the way. And that's what I love about our organization, built by agents. Everybody at corporate head office at a senior level, we've all been in the field. We've all struggled in the field, just like all of y'all, but we've also had success, right? So built by agents, built for agents, and owned by agents. That premise in and of itself is going to make us the number one distributor of investments and insurance products in North America. Dare I say, eventually, the globe.
Woo! Let's go, baby. Woo! Let's go, baby. Woo! And Shawn, last time I checked, you don't got the same white hairs that I do. So you're in the game long term. I'm in the game long term. Jamie's still in the game. Mauro, we might let him retire soon. But I love him. But that's one of the things that I'm going to share last point, Shawn, about this is what I'm excited about. Experior, where we're going, where we're heading. The upside is just tremendous. The legends of our business haven't been established yet. We don't even have them yet. You know, the leaders today are in the game. The ELC, we're in the game. The best of the best is in the game today. This, I don't know why or how anybody would choose any other home except for here to change people's lives and to build something great and to change your own life and your own family tree moving forward.
I think we could end just on that alone. But before we do, brother, do you want to say anything else before we part?
Just, you know what? Thank you to you for this. Thank you for this opportunity. I love this. This is exciting. Thank you for the opportunity just to share my story. And, thank you to all of our head office staff. They don't get enough credit. We can't do what we do without them. And if anybody hears that from head office, I appreciate you all so much. Everybody, I really do. Yourself, Sheldon, Stephanie, Heather, the field, Kathleen, thank you guys, everybody. Jamie, Leanne, love you guys. And I tell them all the time, don't ever let go of that vision, because we haven't forgotten where we came from. And that's so important. And finally, to the team, to FML Nation, to our hierarchy, our agents, I stand on your shoulders. You lift me up. Thank you. I ain't this good. They make me look this good. And I serve that team, Shawn. I serve them. I'm very clear on who works for who. And at the end of the day, I take our team name FML, Free More Lives. I take it very, very seriously when it comes to the team. Okay. And our clients, my clients are listening to this. I love you. Our clients, thank you for believing in us. Thank you for working with us. Again, we'd be nothing without our clients.
Absolutely.
And that's it. And message to my wife and my kids. This thing's just getting started. I'm fired up for the life we're going to live together, and the family tree that we're going to change moving forward. Very excited. So thank you, brother.
And I just want to finish by saying thank you. Thank you for your passion, your leadership, your unwavering commitment to the organization. You've always been there for the entire organization, opening up your own training sessions to anybody who wants to attend. You are a true team player. Bless you. Thank you for everything you've done for Experior and for FML, your clients, your family. I just wish you continued success, brother. And I know I don't even have to wish it upon you. It's going to happen anyway. But all the best to you, my friend.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it so much. Thanks, Shawn. Thank you for the time. Love this.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in to Xcelerate Unplugged, the first edition with one of our agents, our first executive partner, first $1 million earner, Frank DeLeo. Please make sure to subscribe and to tune into future episodes. Have a great day.